A very good evening and welcome to a webinar on Teenage Years Unplugged. Today we have with us Shreya Chugh, who is an international faculty member at the Art of Living. She is currently spearheading the youth program of the organizations in India. And she has traveled over the past 17 years, she's traveled across 30 countries, addressing the youth on life skills, how to cope up with their anxiety and aspirations and much more. And not just that, she also conducts training for the teachers who ultimately leads these powerful programs. Welcome Shreya Didi.
Thank you.
We've been hearing a lot about the youth programs these days. So could you tell us something about the Medha Yoga program?
The Medha Yoga Level 1 program is basically, I would say the seed. You know, it's the planting of the seed that we do in the Art of Living. And it takes care of all the adolescent issues. So we deal with all these issues that come by the parents, wherein the children don't listen, or they are too aggressive, or they are probably irritated. Small things irritate them. They have issues of not getting along well with their siblings, with their parents, with their teachers. So we deal with all these kind of issues in this program. It's basically, in a nutshell, it's just the inception or the incubation period of the child.
What is Medha Yoga Level 2 then?
See, I always address the students when they come for my programs for the Medha Yoga Level 2. I always tell them, because there's a 2 there, everything has to be doubled. So we deal with confidence in Level 1. So they have to show double confidence here. We deal with issues of anger. So they have to show double level of patience here. So that's what we do in the Level 2 program. We basically dwell a lot more into the topics that have already been dealt with in the Level 1 program. It's like exploring their self, and it's an understanding of who they basically are, which space are they coming from. You know, the root cause of anger, a child is always happy. So where did this anger come from? A child always listens to you. So where did this understanding come about, wherein he doesn't want to listen to anybody? It started somewhere in your root, right? And then they like aggression, they like rage, they like this attitude of I don't care. So these are small issues that turn up, and we actually go into details about understanding the nature of why that crept into the child and how to eradicate it. And it's dealt with very simply, very naturally, with a lot of processes and a lot of meditations. We do a lot of pranayamas. That's absolutely new, obviously, for them. The first day of the program is basically a refresher of what has already been done, earlier. We have a lot of games, we have a lot of processes. We understand the knowledge better. Yeah. So dwelling a little more deeper into the subject, which is very important. It's like a PhD for the child. So they actually do research on themselves. On that particular day. They understand, okay, do I need to be natural? Why do I need to be natural? But I don't understand it. So I need to understand what naturalness is. And this is what we make them understand in this process. Of course, the day 2 comes as silence. So I don't think many parents just want their teenagers to just shut up. And they've never kept quiet in their lives. And I think it's a big deal for them to even be quiet for 10 minutes, especially girls.
Task.
Especially girls. So it's really difficult for them.
Why would you say that, especially girls?
Yeah, because they're like the jabber box all the time. They're talking all the time. There are many, in fact, there are boys also who talk a lot. And they come out of silence and they tell us that there's such greater depth inside us now. We understand ourselves so much better. We have come out with great strength. That inner strength that was required has happened now. They feel that they have gained energy for tackling all these situations of the 10th grade or the 12th grade, the board exams. So I think it's a super power-packed program. Children always share with me that, we always pray and we talk to God, but meditation is like listening to God. And this is the space we come from after the program. We feel one with nature. We have nice nature walks. We do a lot of, it's very simple, the process, and they love it. It's not like we ask them to just shut up and tell them, okay, you are going to be in silence. I call it the holiday for the mind. This is what I start the program with.
True.
Today you give your mind a break. Just take off and listen to yourself. The answers are coming out from yourself. Understand who you really are, what is the purpose of your life, and come out with that space of that inner strength and spread happiness, spread joy, give it to the others. We have something very beautiful coming up the next day. We have community service. So they actually go into one of these slums or the villages, or they could probably go into a blind school, they could probably go into an orphanage. We have children who probably visit an old age home, the laborers camps, like in Dubai when I did this program. We don't have villages there. So we had children preparing food, giving workers water, making lemon juice for them, do some seva, they go to do some service, community service. They help the villagers. It could be farming, it could be to do something with their household activities. So they help them, they make them meditate, they spend a good half day with them. And they come back sharing that feeling of abundance. They feel that, you know, what they've got from their parents is far so much more abundant. That's the real transformation that happens in these children. And this is what is giving them an added credit when they go to universities abroad. And the beauty about this project is that they choose what they want to do.
That's nice.
Yeah, they choose the activity. When they go to the village, they decide what they want to do. It's not like motivational, it's self-inspirational. It just comes from within, that I want to contribute something to the world and I want to leave the world better than the way I received it. And of course, we teach them a lot of volunteering on how to organize things, how to organize their whole life, how to organize their subjects, how to organize their academics, how to envision a brighter career for themselves. So we deal with a lot of subjects like this in the Medha Yoga level 2.
You know, I was just thinking it's a 4-day course. How can a teenager sit at one place for 4 days? But I think this is like quite engaging and lot of activities to do.
Oh yes, we have adventure camps.
Oh.
Yeah, it actually breaks a lot of fear patterns in children. I've taken children right into the forests, into the jungles, into the caves. People explore themselves with rappelling, river rafting. They make their own kayaks and their boats. We have a lot of camps like this where children come out of their fears. I think it's very important for them to connect with nature, because these kids are all the time with gadgets. They've become like these indoor cocoons. It's very important to bring them out into this world and show them reality. And I think Gurudev, Shri Ravi Shankar ji is doing a huge transformational task for the youth of tomorrow by bridging this gap, you know, of technology and reviving the roots, I would say. So like I remember, a few years ago, there was a group of students that came in from Dubai. And we had this spiritual sojourn Medha Yoga level 2 for them. Okay. So it was like a complete package of the program in the morning. They would meditate, they'd start the day with yoga and some breathing exercises, some pranayamas. And then we would discuss a little bit of knowledge. So that would go on for like 2 hours. And then the whole day we would spend in nature. We would do camping, trekking, rappelling, river rafting. It was incredible, the experience of connecting with nature. Because the child understood the space of within. So he's obviously able to connect with nature far better than he would. And then we had these open air painting art classes. They would just look at nature and they'd never drawn something more than those funny mountains and that sun and those birds that we always draw. Those, maybe there'll be a little hut there or something like that additionally. Yeah. They said, Didi, we've never seen a leaf as a leaf. We've never seen sand like this before. So I said, nothing has changed, it's the same. It's your perception that has changed. They were observing, small things in nature. They were looking at those ants walking and they were saying, we should learn teamwork from these ants. And you know how it is in Dubai, it's always, everything is air conditioned, they're all within the space. So wherever our programs happen, whether it's in the Bangalore ashram or it's in Rishikesh, we make sure that there are a lot of adventure activities, which are of course very safe. It breaks the barrier also in the child, removes the fear also, and despite all that, the child is able to enjoy his or her own space. No camp around the world offers knowledge, meditation, breaking barriers, imbibing values, and yet giving them that space of being themselves. Like, they can be as crazy as they are, they can enjoy their own space. Nobody is confining them to rules and regulations. Yes, we do define rules and regulations for them, but we give them that space also to be themselves. Every Medha Yoga level 2 is different, because the space is different, the people are different, friends are different. When we have programs in the ashram, we have children coming from all over the world. You know, a South Indian has never interacted with a North Indian, or a East Indian has never interacted with a West Indian, or they've probably hardly spoken to some German kid or some American kid or some Australian kid or some kid from the Middle East. And when they all come together, it's like they contribute towards each other's lives and they contribute towards each other's success. They brainstorm together on how to handle their issues, how to break down their issues. And then they finally come up to us and say, Didi, I mean, it was such a small thing we were worried about. It was so silly. You know, it's so stupid, because when that child hears a problem of another child, they feel that, you know, it's so silly and so stupid to actually dwell in such small things and trivial things and waste their life because of that small probably relationship issue. That child probably flunked his 10th grade or didn't do well in his studies. So there are small issues that these children prop up, and they address each other, they come up with their own solutions. That's the beauty of the program. They come back and they say that it's nothing, these problems are nothing, and our parents have given us so much. There's such a sense of gratefulness towards the parents. I've seen children like literally crying. They want to call their parents up immediately and they say, you know, we want to say thank you to them. They encourage each other and they say, come on, you know, we need to respect our parents, we need to respect our teachers. So we have this gratefulness process, not just talk about it, but they feel it, they do it, and they imbibe it and they take it back home. And like I have an example of a child who was in a hostel. Of course, the parents used to have a lot of fights, internal fights. So he was fed up and the mother decided to put him in the hostel. And he never spoke to his parents for 3 years. He would refuse to go back home during his vacation. And you know, the boarding school people were like, you know, you need to go and address your parents, you need to go stay with them. And he was like, no, I don't want to go home anymore. I don't like my parents, I hate them. And during the Yes to, it was such a barrier break for him. He came out with such gratefulness for his parents, and then he said, I want to go to Srinagar with my parents. I'm going to, you know, work for this holiday. I'm going to earn the money, and I'm going to make sure I do the tickets and I fly my parents. And he went for a holiday with his parents and they were so grateful. You know, it was such a transformational change that came about this boy, where from such anger and rage, and finally it was so much of love and gratefulness. He was so filled with happiness at that moment, and it was so touching. So it's very important to instill these values in children at this point of time in their lives. You know, they come out from a space of I know everything, who are you, I don't care. And from here they do the program, they do the meditations. It just gets rid of all their stress. And they go back empty. The teenager is like the center of attraction for the whole family, because all his issues become a burden. Yeah, it becomes a burden for their grandparents, it becomes a burden for the siblings, because the sibling is not able to get along with them. So somewhere it affects the whole family. You know, it's very important that the child repeats the Medha Yoga level 2 program every 6 months. It's like the car needs servicing, the teenager needs servicing big time, because obviously he is going through a very tough time in his life. Hormonal changes happening, there are emotional changes happening, there are physical changes happening, there are mental changes happening. You know, he feels spirituality is boring and it's only for the old people. I think the spirit needs some revival, because they are somewhere drained with the amount of studies that they go through. They are saturated with the issues that they are facing, and there's so much peer pressure for performance. These teenagers really are going through a very tough time. I'm sure every parent knows that this is what we deal with. We extract these things out of them and we actually throw it out. It's like a complete extraction machine. I would say to add on to this, it's like realignment of their life. I have an example of one of my students who passed his CA, Chartered Accountancy, in one shot. He said the pranayamas that he learned in the level 2 program, it gave him so much focus, it gave him so much confidence that he was amazed. He said, at that point of time when he was writing his CA exams, he said, it's nothing but pressure that I need to finish this much at this point of time, and it has to be correct. So I need heightened focus at that point of time. And he said, Didi, the pranayamas you taught me, that is what helped me clear through in one shot. He didn't fail even in one subject.
You were mentioning about the practice, like the course is beautiful, it's very nice, they have a lot of fun, they learn a lot, take away a lot. But with teenagers especially, I think to keep up with the practice, it's a slightly a task for them. So how do they keep up with the practice, or what do the parents have to do to ensure that they keep up with their practice?
See, like I said, make sure the child repeats it twice a year at least. There should be like his dosage. Of course, like I said, the course is so experiential that the child will never forget what he has learned. Somewhere down the lane, he'll suddenly remember that, oh yes, this is what I went through, this is what I did, and this was the solution to my problem, and this is how I need to come out of it. And it does click. Sometime in his life, he will remember what he has gained from it. Maybe he doesn't practice meditation for some time. You need to kindle that as a parent also. You need to make that child understand. I'll tell you one thing, what the child sees, he does. So I would say that the parents need to start meditating themselves. Automatically the child will. And if they see that the parent is getting involved in community service, the child automatically will do it. You can give that 5% push, the rest we will do. Yes, that's why it's important to bring them back into the grind, because they tend to get swayed away with that peer pressure. Maybe their friends are saying that, hey, meditation is so boring, why do you want to meditate and do all these things? It's rubbish. But once the child understands that its values, its importance, then I don't think you need to remind him.
Also, at this age, teenage, like a lot of parents would want their children to be academically sound, performing good in academics than being spiritual. So how does this course help in bringing up the academic quotient?
Like I shared about this student of mine who did this chartered accountancy and cleared it one shot. We have many such cases wherein children have gained so much more focus after doing the Medha Yoga Level 2 program. They have gained far more confidence. See, the main thing is that they should become positive about this whole thing. I hate maths. Now, supposing I made that child understand, or he understands that why he needs to study maths, why is maths important for him in his life. It's not just academic information. Today, if he understands the importance, he'll automatically study it. So I would say understanding the subject is important more than mugging it up. So if that understanding happens, automatically he will do well, he will study well. And if he's coming out of a space of positivity inside him, no matter what, he will clear that subject, he will do well. Today I don't like maths maybe because I don't like the teacher, or maybe I don't like the ambience, or maybe I don't like the environment I'm studying in. But if I create a cordial environment and I make that child understand maths, he definitely wants to study maths. And if I instill these positivity in the child and that confidence that you can do it and you will do very well in this subject, why will you not do it?
I heard that in Medha Yoga Level 2 there is community service. Level 2 graduates can actually go into the slums and teach the Bal Chetna courses. So could you share something about this?
Yeah, that's something very beautiful that Gurudev has given to these children. It's an opportunity for them to become trainers themselves. When they do the level 2 program, and if they practice with certain consistency, and supposing I need to teach somebody something, I need to be fearless myself, I need to be having that confidence. I cannot go and teach somebody with low confidence, right?
Correct.
So they practice it, they go through it for a good 40 days, sometimes 3 months, sometimes 6 months, it depends. And when we see that those children are ready, we make them undergo a training. It's called a teachers training program for the Bal Chetna Shibir courses that we have for the slums across the country. So these children get trained over a period of 2 days or 4 days of training that we do, depending on what grade of efficiency they have in with learning. They go and start doing service in their own slums or in their own areas with those people, and they bring about a change and transformation in the villages around them. So it's like this child who wouldn't meditate tomorrow has to practice for a definite number of days and then does the training, and when he addresses children and say you need to meditate, automatically he is reminding himself again and again that, hey, am I meditating? I am telling like those 500 children around me to meditate, but am I meditating? So it tickles that consciousness a little bit, and it brings in that more awareness that I am addressing the gathering that you don't drink, don't get into alcohol. Am I free of that? I am telling children don't take drugs, and am I free of drugs? I am addressing children and saying that, hey buddy, you need to respect your parents. Am I respecting my parents? So it's like a refresher for him,
reflecting on themselves.
Yeah, it's like a mirror reflection. So that child who starts teaching these Bal Chetna Shibirs, he comes out so powerful because obviously he is free of all these negativities himself. Only then he can imbibe it in other children. And this is what gives him an added edge over other teenagers, because of course he is academically good. He's done very well in his studies because he is addressing the children and saying study. So he starts studying well, he starts doing extracurriculars, he starts playing sports, he starts respecting his parents. All these values that he's imbibing in children around him, he starts imbibing it in his own life.
Thank you, Shreya Didi, for coming here and spending your time with us and sharing so many valuable experiences from the courses. I think this is a very good opportunity for teenagers, and parents must send their children to the Medha Yoga Level 2 courses. You can find more information about these courses on artofliving.org/CT. Thank you.